Welcome to The System Works, the lifestyle channel that shows you who you are, what you truly want, and how to get it. The System Works. Own it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of The System Works. I'm your host, Ernest Phillips, and today's episode is one of those that I think is just a monster of an episode. Okay, the title of this episode is, You Don't Need a Problem Solver, You Need a Problem Listener. Now, if you've ever come across the person that complains about a problem and they just keep complaining and you can give them suggestions and they just keep complaining. I have. I'm sure you have too. I'm sure you've probably been at some point like me to say, hey, until you want to solve this thing, I don't want to hear about it because you've been complaining about the same thing forever and I'm over it. Well, here is the reason. Here's what's going on. They don't need you to be a problem solver. They need a problem listener. Now, I'm going to tell you one of the most amazing things that I've ever happened in my career as a coach. I met a woman who had been divorced, so she was on her fourth marriage. Her husband, that was his third marriage, and they were about, I think, 2 years in, and she is frustrated, and I happened to meet her at an event, and so she's asking questions, and I'm giving her answers on what coaching is, why it's different, and she's saying, oh, well, I've done everything. I've read all the books. I've done all the counseling. Nothing works. I just don't think that I need to be married. I mean, whatever it is, I'm missing it, and I began to ask her some more questions, and she described the problems in, her first 3 marriages, and she said, point blank, she said, I'm on my 4th, and it's probably going to end. I mean, I see all the writing on the wall. And I asked to do a consultation with her. And so we met, and I continued to ask some more questions. And she was one of the individuals that when she would describe the mistakes she made in the first 3, she would downplay the impact. And when she described the mistakes that her former husbands made, she would blow those out of proportion. We do it all the time. We downplay our negative. We upplay the other person when we don't want to take ownership for our part. Yes, there's the other side of that when we can exaggerate the negativity of what we're doing and downplay the negativity of the other person. Both sides are unhealthy because neither one is accurate. I asked her, give me one thing that was present in all 4 that just was a problem. She said, they don't listen. Men don't listen. She said, they just don't listen, and it drives her nuts. She feels invalidated. She feels uncared for, and for her, it was a massive issue. I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you something, and it's going to address this, and I want you to try it for a week. 1 week. And if it has positive impact, significant impact, then I want you to do the coaching. And she looked like, and I'm like, you have nothing to lose. You've tried everything else. Make sure you've tried absolutely everything. And that seemed to get her. She said, fine. About 10 days later, it was a little bit more than a week, she calls me and says, hey, I want to meet, and I want to meet in person. And I said, okay. And I'm thinking it must have gone well. She's excited. I'm about to get a new client, new contract. I'm excited. We meet, and she says, I don't know what you did. Why has no one ever told me? Here's what I told her. What you need is a problem listener. Now, what you need to do before you address something, before you share something with your husband, tell him openly, I don't need you to solve anything. I don't need you to do anything. I just want you to listen. Because what happens for a lot of people who are problem solvers, they hear someone talking and they're looking for all the pieces of information that they need to solve the problem. Therefore, they're missing all of the feelings, all of the unemotional, all the emotional things, because those aren't the things that are needed to solve the problem. But there she is. She's not necessarily worried about the problem. She wants him to understand how she feels about the problem. However, that's not what she's telling him to do. And the problem solver people, there's no gender. There's men, there's women, there's kids. They want to solve a problem. And it's a big reason why. Hey, if I can help you solve your problem, you're going to be happier. Right? You're going to find more value in me. That's a good thing. Let me help you. Help me help you. But that's not what they're looking for. But they don't say that. The tug tip. Oh, here it is. All right. The tug tip. Until you accurately communicate what you want from someone, you have not earned the right to complain when you don't get it. Now, I walk her through that, and she's now telling me the very next day she went home and she said, I have a problem and I don't want you to solve it, so just listen. And I'm thinking that's not really how I coached you, but I mean, you definitely communicated that accurately. And she described her husband saying, like, I'm sorry, what? I said, and she basically repeated it. And I'm thinking that is definitely not how I coached. Okay, let's see where this goes. And the husband just listened and didn't interrupt, didn't provide any suggestions. He just sat there. And after a little while, she's thinking, he's tuned me out. And she says, are you even listening to me? And he says, oh yeah, keep going. And that threw her off. She finishes and he says, wow, that sucks for you. You really got screwed over on that one. And she is just blown away. It's exactly what she felt. And she then says, and oh my goodness, we had the best night ever. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's great. And she says, no, we had the best night ever. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's great. And then she, doing this stare, like leaning in. I'm like, oh, gotcha. Was not thinking, okay, well, hey, thumbs up, woo. And at this point, boom, I know I got the contract. I literally take my folder out as I'm listening and I'm setting it up. I'm like, all right. And then she says, and then a couple days later, I brought up something and I said the same thing. I have a problem and I don't want you to solve it. I just want you to listen. And then he says, well, yeah, we can do that. Do you mind if we take a walk while we do it? And at this point, she's thinking there's a trap. Because she's been trying to get him to go on walks, and it's a tug and pull, and it is dragging him out like the dog that does not want to go for a walk. And it's just like on the hind legs, and you're just dragging, and they're scooting, and they're scratching the floor. That's how she described what it's like trying to get him to just go on a walk. And now he's initiating. And she said, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had to see where this was going. They get out on the walk, and she is telling about the issue that she had. And now he is engaged, and he's asking questions, and he's commenting. He's like, oh, yeah, oh, I get that. Oh, wow. And he's into it. And after that, they ended up having a conversation about the whole thing. Now, I did not ask what kind of night they had after that. I'm just going to assume, because this woman is sitting there glowing. I mean, like the glow that they all talk about. I mean, it's palpable. I mean, it's like the heavens had opened up and they're showing just on her face, and she is glowing. And now I know I got a contract. I'm happy. And then she says, but this morning something else happened. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. She says, I went to him and I knew I only had about 10 minutes before we needed to leave for work. I said, I have a problem and I need your help. I'm like, okay. Because that is the other side. When you need a problem solver, let them know. When you need a problem listener, let them know. She said he dropped what he was doing. He walked over, sat down, pulled up a chair, and just stared at her. And she's like, ooh, that's pretty intense. And she's like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm ready. And he's just intent. She begins to say the problem that she has. He gives her some thought, gives her 2 suggestions. She tried one that day. It worked. Now I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this woman is coachable. It has already made a huge impact on their lives. Fantastic. I'm going to get both of them. This is going to be wonderful. And then she hits me with this one. She says, I know I said I would do the coaching. I don't think we need coaching now. We've got it all figured out. And I was like, wait, no. And she said, I don't know what this did, but we now have open communication. And it's like everything was unlocked and we're fine. And I wish I had had this in my first marriage. She said, I think this would have changed any of my marriages, but I want this one to work. She said, but I promise you this, if we get into trouble, I'm calling you immediately. About 2 years later, I ran into her at this corporate networking event. She sees me and she runs over and hugs me. Now, I am not the best with names. Matter of fact, I'm bad with names. I'm pretty good with faces. I did not recognize her. This woman is just walking up, so excited, and hugs me. And I'm like, okay, I'm hoping you know me, because otherwise this is going to be really awkward. And she says, how are things going? And she's talking to me, so clearly she knows me. And she realizes I don't know who she is. She said, don't you remember you saved my marriage in a week? And my brain was like, oh boy, this is going to sound really sketchy, but you're going to need to be more specific. This has happened more than once. And this is how I'm feeling, like, and she said, I'm the one that needs the problem listener. And I'm like, got it. And then I remembered everything. And I said, how are things going? She goes, we are so in love. It just changed everything. And we're just wonderful. And I'm like, that is phenomenal. And then I made the joke, so I take it you don't need coaching. She goes, oh, no, we don't need coaching. We don't need coaching. And I was excited. I made the difference. I achieved what I wanted to achieve. Here is this for you. Let someone know what you actually need. If you are one of the people that has a mate that wants to solve the problem and you're annoyed and you feel like they don't listen, before you start talking, let them know, I need a problem listener. I do not need a problem solver. Now, here's the thing that you may not know about problem solvers. We love to solve problems. They're like puzzles and crosswords. We love to solve them. You know what's even easier to do? When we get to be problem listeners. We can put the toolbox down, we can kick back, and we can listen for all the details that matter to you. The emotion, how you feel. We can look at it from your perspective because it has nothing to do with us. We don't have to do anything. We can do, gotcha. Makes sense. Bummer. We can do all that. Listening is far easier when you don't have to do anything with it. Problem solving requires the listening, coming up with an event or coming up with identifying what the problem is accurately, coming up with a solution, possible solution that person might like, or that's a lot more work than just sitting back and going, talk to me. You will make their lives easier, and you're going to get more of what you want. Because if you are not accurately telling them what you want, you don't get to complain about it. You haven't earned the right. It's not yours. You have the ownership to let them know. Give them a chance. What's the Wi-Fi? You get more of what you want. Come on. Who doesn't want more and better? What is another thing that you get? Oh my goodness. You get to give one of the coolest gifts to the other person. You get to give them the gift of no judgment. Ugh, what an amazing gift. Because otherwise you're going to be judging them for what they didn't do, should have done, what you thought and you didn't tell them. And how fair is that? That's not. Yes. Go out, let people know what you want, what you really need, and identify. Chances are you just need a problem listener. All right, I want to thank you guys for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, do the comments. I anticipate over a period of time getting a lot of comments on this because this one is such a huge one. And a big shout out to Metro Studios, www.metro-studios.com. They are my best website partner. They are amazing. Check them out if you have any website needs at all. Big, small, they can handle it. We'll see you soon. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The System Works. Have fun with the action steps. Enjoy the Wi-Fis. Click like, click subscribe, and comment. The good and the bad, we like them all. We look forward to seeing you next time. The System Works. Own it.